And we are back in action, friends and family. It is the one and only Anita Marks. I am Tyler Fulghum. We got 30 minutes of bet coming your way, a jam-packed Wednesday hump day edition. The Puck Daddy Greg Wyshynski is going to join us to help break down the NHL postseason as it continues on the ice. We'll hop back on the tee box. Got another tournament that starts tomorrow. Charles Schwab, par 3 picks coming from the both of us. We'll get back on the diamond where our dollars have kind of been dwindling a little bit lately, Anita, so we need to get back on track there. But we are going to start today with the disclaimer, like always, from the suits. YouTube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. You know the drill by now. I'm sure you're getting annoyed with it every time I start this bet presentation, but hey, I got to do what they tell me. So you do what I tell you. Go there, subscribe, and find all of your gambling content, wagering content on that YouTube channel. Let's start Wednesday's bet, Anita, with a little bit of the good word. We will flash our vocabulary here, and let me start in Big League Baseball. If you hadn't noticed, Cleveland Guardians slugger, got it right, don't have to put money in the jar there. Jose Ramirez leads all of Major League Baseball with 43 RBI through 39 games this season. He is 4-1 to lead Major League Baseball after 162 in runs batted in. What's your good word?
Did you ever participate in the spelling bee, Tyler? Because here you go, buddy. Ambidextrous. How are you going to spell it? Why? Because dude is the anchor of the Guardians. He's batting 287 because he is a switch hitter. He goes both ways. Maybe pitchers don't know what to do. You can't stop him. He's unbelievable. He's got great patience at the plate. He knows when to take a walk. I mean, last show we talked about possibly going outside the top 3 in regard to those favored to win the MVP. Based on what I've seen from him, I might be changing my mind. I mean, he's just been unbelievable. And again, a big reason why. Switch hitter, baby.
Yeah, I got it right. I spelled it right. Thank you. What I'm going to try and do now, based off of your word, my theme is going to be 4-letter words. No, come on, get your mind out of the gutter. I'm going to try and write my first one with the ambidextrous switch-hitting Jose Ramirez with my left hand. So sorry if it is poor in terms of the way it looks, but my word is fade. This isn't bad. I'm doing a little bit better than I thought there. Luckily, a 4... Okay, it looks like a second grader wrote that, kind of, but... All right, I used my left hand, ambidextrous. I'm going to fade this because even though he's off to a great start and he is one of the best hitters in all of Major League Baseball, I do think he will fade and the team's offense will fade down the stretch. That's why I'm fading the bet. I don't look at the Guardians lineup and think they're going to be one of the most prolific throughout the rest of this big league season, providing him the opportunity to drive in a lot of runs. I know Ramirez is one of the best hitters in all of Major League Baseball, but I'm going to fade him at 4-1 because I'm kind of fading this Cleveland offense, thinking they'll fade a little bit down the stretch, and those opportunities to drive in runs won't be as prolific for Jose Ramirez. All right, let's move to the association. Give ourselves a blank slate here. Steph Curry. Maybe you like betting on him a little more. He is plus 115 to win the NBA Finals MVP. Again, NBA Finals MVP plus 115. What's your good word?
Charm. As in, 4th time might be a charm, right? Like 3 championships and unfortunately no MVPs. KD, Iguodala. This time, I feel like if in fact the Golden State Warriors win the championship, I just think you have to give it to Steph Curry. And let's be honest, I know they lost to the Mavs last night, but they're back at the Chase Center. They're going to win the next game. We know for certain that they're going to advance to the postseason. At least I do. So with that, and if the Dubs win, then I think it's a no-brainer. I think you have to give it to Steph Curry.
All right, a pick or picks for that Game 5 at the Chase Center coming up a little later in bet. But as it pertains to this good word, again, 4-letter words is the theme here. Mine is East. As in, I would look East because I think not only is there better value with a Jason Tatum or a Jaylen Brown or even a Jimmy Butler, crazy thing happens, Bam Adebayo. I'm looking East because, Anita, I think whoever wins this Eastern Conference Series between the Heat and the Celtics is going to win the NBA championship. I know the Celtics are favored, even though the Heat have games 5 and game 7 if needed on their home floor. A little banged up both teams are, but maybe this is foolish. I'm thinking the NBA champion this year comes out of the East. Therefore, I don't think Steph could do enough in a losing effort to win an NBA Finals MVP again. We told you last week only Jerry West has won an NBA Finals MVP coming from a losing team, but I don't think Steph would be able to pull that off if the Golden State Warriors lose. I think the winner's coming from the East. Could be wrong about that. That's why I say that. Let's move now to the ice. My St. Louis Blues, Anita, they are 4-1 to go to overtime tonight with the Colorado Avalanche in Game 5 taking place in Denver. Avs up 3-1 in the series, an opportunity to close it out. What's your good word, though, on a 4-1 OT prop for Game 5?
Unlikely. I mean, with all due respect, the Blues can't stop a runny nose right now. I mean, the Avalanche, Colorado is undefeated on the road, 11 goals in their last 2 games, and Binnington is not coming in to save the day. So for me, the word is unlikely, Tyler.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. I am going to be a little more optimistic since it is my Blues. My 4-letter word is wish. As in, I will wish this game goes to overtime. Because if I have 2 options in one hand, Tyler, Game 5 can go to overtime or it can end in regulation. Well, I'm going to say go to overtime because then all I need is 1 goal. Anything can happen. Bad puck bounce for the Avs, good puck bounce for the Blues, and this series is extended. If you tell me the game has to end in regulation, I think there's probably a 60-70% chance that the Avalanche win that game in regulation. So I hope it goes to overtime because then it's kind of a toss-up 50-50 proposition. Anything can happen in overtime playoff hockey. You just need that one sudden death game winner. And so I will wish at 4-1 that Game 5 goes to overtime for the sake of my St. Louis Blues. Speaking of the NHL postseason, let's welcome in a buddy of mine, a buddy of yours, a buddy of ours. I know before this series started, he liked the Blues to maybe pull off the upset against the Avalanche. I was loving that. We, of course, speak of the Puck Daddy Greg Wyshynski. All right, it's near the end for my Blues. They lost both games at home after evening the series in Game 2. They're looking at being a heavy plus 210 Game 5 road underdog on the money line. How are you going to play Game 5 given what we've seen through 4 games and what's at stake here tonight, Puck Daddy?
Yeah, well, it's not only given what we've seen through 4 games, it's given what we've seen through the entire season, which is why I'm taking the St. Louis Blues on the puck line, plus a goal and a half against the Avalanche. The Blues hit on the puck line more than any other team in the regular season, 59%. That's carried over to the postseason. They've hit on the puck line in 6 of 10 games in the playoffs. It protects you against the upset in Game 5 to extend the series. It protects you against overtime in Game 5 as well. So I like the Blues on the puck line here against the Avalanche.
And I like you, Puck
All right,
Daddy,
Greg,
for that play.
the Rangers, they tie it up the series 2-2. They are a small road dog at plus 129. I mean, yeah, 125. But as we know, the Canes 6-0 at home. They're so good on home ice. What's your favorite play in this matchup tonight?
Yeah, it's been the story of 2 different teams, Anita. It's like they're the Hartford Whalers on the road and the Carolina Hurricanes at home in this series. But again, at home, unbeatable. Plus 15 goal differential. They play incredibly well defensively on home ice. I like Carolina on the money line against the New York Rangers to win this game. Bring it back to New York. Well, of course, they'll lose, and then we'll go back for Game 7. You know how it's going to work. But in this game, I think Carolina rediscovers their identity, plays to it, gets the matchups they want, and more importantly, plays solid defense against the Rangers team, which is starting to pick up the play a little bit 5-on-5.
All right, Puck Daddy, let's go back to the Western Conference, look at that other series. You had Calgary on the money line for Game 4, and they kind of played with your heart a little bit. Went down 3-0, come back to tie it up 3-3 with that crazy third goal on Mike Smith, but ultimately fall 5-3 to the Oilers. They are now down 3-1 in this series, but Thursday, they are a home favorite against this Oilers squad. So do you think the series is extended, or does it come to an end on Thursday in Game 5?
Yeah, I think the Flames are toast, man. Like, they're making so many mistakes early in games against this Oilers team. They're having to dig out of these holes that they're creating for themselves. And more importantly, Mike Smith agent of chaos who gives up goals from across the ice has been the better goalie in this series than has Jacob Markstrom, and that just can't happen. Markstrom's a Vezina finalist, one of the best goalies in this league. I think he's exhausted. I think without him playing as well as he can, they don't have a chance in this series. They certainly don't have a chance to extend it based on how much confidence the Edmonton Oilers are playing with right now. So I like the Oilers to end this thing in 5.
All right, since you are the father of pucks, let's get your Stanley Cup Exacta in regard to who you think is going to make it to the championship. Let's take a look at some of the odds out there, right? Like Avalanche, Lightning, obviously the favorite at plus 325. Take a look at this board. Hurricanes, Avalanche, Lightning, Oilers. Taking a look at this board, Puck Daddy, who are you rolling with? What's the best play here?
Well, with Panthers over Wild off the board, which was my actual wager before the playoffs on the Exacta, I'm going to take Lightning over the Avalanche in the final. Look, the Tampa Bay Lightning are proving themselves to once again be the finest playoff assassin we have. They can beat you any way you want to play. Run and gun, they can beat you. 1-0 game, they can beat you. I think the Avalanche right now look like the team most likely to emerge from the Western Conference. And once they get to the final, I think it's going to be a three-peat for the Tampa Bay Lightning based on the way they're playing right now.
The Puck Daddy, Greg Wyshynski, joining us here for this Wednesday edition of Bet. We always appreciate you stopping by, father of pucks, and look forward to chatting with you throughout the rest of the Stanley Cup playoff finals. All right, Anita, not just the only postseason we have to discuss today on the ice. Let's return to the NBA, and as promised, we're going to have some picks, some plays for the Western and Eastern Conference Finals, which do continue. Let's start with tonight, what we will see in Game 5, crucial Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals, all knotted up at 2 apiece. The Heat return home, where they look at themselves as a 2.5-point home dog against the Boston Celtics. A very low total of 204. Both teams are kind of banged up. No one's really healthy here. It's been kind of a war. How are you going to play this crucial Game 5?
So I'm going to go with the Celtics. I'm going to lay the points. I also like the team total over 102.5 for the Celtics. You touched on it, Tyler. Listen, a lot of players are banged up here, but I feel the one crucial player is on the Miami Heat side, and that's Hero. Even if he does play, he's playing with that groin injury. You and I have played enough pickup basketball at the playground. We know that first step is so crucial, not only offensively, but trying to defend as well. So, also, this is a Heat team 0-8 against the spread when Hero is inactive, and also when he is on the court, it's plus 3 points per 100 possessions. That's pretty substantial. So I think out of all the players that potentially could be missing and injured, I think that's a big hit, and that's why I'm leaning towards the Celtics tonight. In regard to prop bets, give me Oladipo. I'm going to go back to the well again. You hear Eric Spoelstra. He loves him. They're playing in Miami. The Heat fans love him. I think he's going to go over his point total tonight at 12.5. That's easy considering he put up 23 in the previous game. Also, I'm wearing the Jaylen Brown t-shirt for a reason. I think he's going to have a big night tonight. Why? Tatum gets all the attention. Therefore, over in three-pointers, over in rebounds as well. And I'm going back to Horford. I cannot watch a Boston Celtics game without putting some money on Horford. You know how much I love him. Over 10.5 points tonight as well. Got 13 rebounds last game. I think he gets back into the good graces of our point total this game.
All right, I'm looking at this, Anita, as an over environment. It kind of correlates with that play that you had as well for Boston's team total going over. Don't know who's going to win this game. It's been impossible to handicap because every game has been a blowout, but yet both teams have won a couple and lost a couple. So you never know who's going to show up, who's not. I do think we're going to see some positive regression offensively in this game. 3 of the first 4 games went over the total. Game 4 did not. But we saw some absolutely wretched shooting from both teams. Not just the Miami Heat, but the Celtics didn't shoot the ball well. It's just the Heat shot the ball a lot worse. Their starting 5 combined for 18 points while shooting 19% from the field. Coming back home, that can only get better. I find it almost nearly impossible that it could actually get worse than that in this Game 5. So I think Butler will play better. I think Strus will play better. I think everyone will play better on that Miami side. I think there'll be a little bit of positive regression as well for Boston, even though they're going on the road. So with 3 of the first 4 games going over, I think we see Game 5 more closely reflect the offense and pace and tempo and scoring outputs we saw in games 1 through 3. So I'm going to go over 204. Again, just been really hard to kind of handicap markets with how fluctuating these games have been. Performances from team to team, game to game have just been wildly different. It's been really, really hard to wager, really, really hard to handicap, no doubt about it. Perhaps you find the Western Conference more palatable to your taste buds, because we saw Golden State kind of dominate the first 3 games, and in a desperate situation, I think a lot of people thought Dallas would show up in Game 4, and of course they did. So this series may be easier to handicap. Game 5 will return to San Francisco and Chase Center, where the Warriors are a 7-point home favorite, total of 215.5. Anita, what do you have on tap for tomorrow in Game 5?
So full transparency, I was expecting the Golden State Warriors to complete the sweep, to be quite frank.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
But hey, listen, they want to go back to the Chase Center. That's where they love to win. They love to celebrate there. I get it. It's just, here's the thing, too many points for me. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play a parlay here. So I'm going to play, as you know, I'm laying the points with Boston, and I'm going to line that with the Golden State Warriors on the money line. You get that at plus 125. So that's how I'm playing this. Again, they play so well at the Chase Center. A few things I think need to go differently for them than what we saw last game, and that is more aggressive. You got to have better defense against three-point shooting. Of course, with Finney-Smith and Bullock, can't let them shoot those threes. Also, you saw a lot of Steph Curry defending Luka. No. You got to be smarter in regard to switching off on defense. No way that can happen. And also, interesting stat I came across, Tyler, only 64% from shots taken within 4 feet of the rim for the Golden State Warriors. I don't see that type of in-the-paint rim shooting happen again. I think they're going to be better from the field. So a lot of reasons why I think Golden State wins. I just don't like laying that many points.
Yeah, I definitely think that the 7 is a lot. If I played the full game spread, I would likely lean towards taking the 7-point head start with the Mavericks. So I'm going to go back to something that's been kind of reliable throughout this postseason and many prior for the Golden State Warriors, and that's laying the 2.5 in the second half for the Dubs, especially at home, where their offense is way more efficient, where their defense is way more tenacious, where they have the backing of that home crowd. The Warriors they're hard to beat when they're on their home floor. I think with Dallas being desperate, of course, down 3-1, they can keep this game close for the first quarter, 2, maybe 3. But generally we see the Warriors come out of the halftime break and step on the pedal in the third quarter. And then if it is a close game in that fourth quarter, I'll rely on Steph, Clay, and that home crowd advantage in that fourth quarter to help propel the Warriors over the finish line. Win the second half probably means they win the game, and then it means they win the series. So I'll lay the 2.5, something I've been going to with this Warriors team in this postseason. I do like that, and I think that's a smart way, a comfortable way, I should say, for me to play Game 5 with Dallas clinging to their playoff lives against the Warriors. All right, let's stay on the hardwood. Play a little game of Take Your Pick. We're going to strictly look at tonight's matchup between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. A bunch of different props, and we'll start with 2 guys on the same squad, Max Strus and Kyle Lowry. Which player would you rather play the over on his point total, Anita? Lowry at 10.5, or Strus at 11.5?
Oladipo at 12.5. No, I'm kidding. If I don't like either of these guys. They're both dealing with hamstring issues. But Strus, that's who I would go with. You've got Lowry. He's only put up more than 10 points once in his last 5 games. And he's just, besides the injury, he's just been totally off. You know, at least Strus can hit from downtown. And we've seen him catch fire every now and then in a game. So I don't like either one of these guys, to be quite frank.
Well, Oladipo, we know you're loving what Vic is doing off the bench. And you're right, if Hero doesn't play or if Jimmy's still kind of compromised, Oladipo can be responsible for scoring like he did in Game 4. I'm with you, though. I'm going to go with Max Strus. He took 7 shots, missed them all in Game 4. I think he's just the better offensive player at this point in his career than Kyle Lowry, especially when Lowry's not 100%. All right, it appears that both aren't, but I'd rather bank on Strus coming back home and getting hot from beyond the arc, where I think he'll shoot more if he plays as much minutes as Kyle Lowry. I think he'll be given that green light a little bit more than Kyle Lowry because they need his size and his scoring more so than Lowry just taking threes with his short stature at less than 100%. Plus, he might have to deal with Marcus Smart. Maybe not. Maybe Smart's out too. Again, it's just been so hard to handicap this series because we have no idea who is available, who is hurt, how much they're hurt. And that's why we've seen 4 blowouts, but a 2-2 series. So, again, not much conviction here, but I think Strus is the play for me as well. All right, whoopsie daisy, that's a little head start or a little sneak peek of what is coming. But before we get to the Heat and the Celtics, how about Robert Williams and Jaylen Brown? Both of these teammates to go over 6.5 rebounds. I think I know which one you like, Anita, because you talked about this earlier in the show. You're going Jaylen, right?
Kidding, I'm wearing the t-shirt. Dude, of course I'm going Brown. For a number of reasons. Again, Tatum is getting, and rightfully so, right? Like Tatum is just a complete beast. So, and he's getting all the respect and all the attention on the defensive side of the ball. And the matchups for Jaylen Brown have been great. So yes, I'm going Brown. And also, let's be honest, Rob Will has not been healthy. I feel like one game he's on and the next game he's not. Who knows if he's going to play tonight? Do they rest the knee? It's rest management for that knee with him anyway. So yeah, of course, I'm all in on Brown.
I'm with you. I'll go with Jaylen Brown as well. He's a far safer bet to play his normal allotment of minutes, which is above 35, 35 to 40. Maybe could play 40-plus minutes if it's a close game with how important getting this victory is for both teams. So, yeah, I think Jaylen Brown is a smart play there. Too many variables with Williams, his health, traveling, flying with a swollen knee. I'm no doctor, but I don't think that's good for your knee if you have swelling and you have to get up in the air and all that stuff. So Jaylen Brown, to me, just a safer play, despite it being 10 cents more expensive. All right. My malfunction on the board kind of teased this final take your pick, but here it is finally. We get to do it. Which team would you rather bet on winning this game by 6 points or more? You get the Celtics at plus 140, but the Heat to win at home by 6+ is a plus 180 proposition. Take your pick, Anita.
Yeah, for me, it's the Celtics. I mean, and listen, how many minutes are we already into the show and we haven't even mentioned Jimmy Butler yet? I know I spent a lot of time talking about Hero when I gave you my Celtics pick, but what about Jimmy Butler? He's dealing with this knee issue. What was he, 3 of 14 last game? He's a shell of himself. He's obviously not well. I do expect him to play. But with Butler not being right, Hero potentially not going, even if he does, he's dealing with a groin. Give me the Celtics, Tyler.
Yeah, we're breaking up here on this one. I'm going with the Heat. I like the 40% difference at plus 180. They are at home. We've seen them win both of their games by 6+, and everyone's counting out the Heat, and everyone's saying the Celtics are ready to take off. I'm not ready to do that. I respect this team that was first in the Eastern Conference, that has been every bit as resilient as the Boston Celtics throughout this season. I think some people, I'm not saying you or I, Anita, but some people looked at that Jimmy Butler-Eric Spoelstra fight earlier in the season on the sideline and said, this team can't win. And yet here they are in the Eastern Conference Finals, battling their behinds off, dealing with injuries. So with the price being the big difference here, and this game being down in South Beach, give me the Heat at plus 180 to win by 6+ versus the Celtics at plus 140. All right, Anita, time to tee them up, and let's see if we can be as flush with our par 3 picks as apparently you were in your round yesterday. I'm hearing some good things from Dottie following you on the course. The shot tracker information said that you were absolutely flush hitting that ball. So here's what we got this week following the PGA Championship down at Colonial Country Club, the Charles Schwab. It's a pretty loaded field as well. So run through each of your par 3 picks for the 2022 Charles Schwab at Colonial. Easy for me to say.
Yeah, so this course, a very, not lengthy at all, a very short course. So you're going to see a lot of guys teeing off with their irons. And also keep in mind, Saturday and Sunday is supposed to be brutally hot and a ton of wind. So you want guys that are up there in regard to strokes gained on approach, greens, and regulation. A guy that sticks out for me is Kevin Na. He's won here before, back in 2019. He loves this tournament. He loves this track. He's a guy that a lot of people know is not long off the tee, but he's brilliant with his irons, and he will do well here. So I've got him finishing in the top 10, as well as Abe Answer. Why not? 9th last week. at of course, the PGA Championship, where a lot of big names couldn't even make the cut. He's great in driving accuracy. He's been terrific in putting, finished 14th in strokes gained putting last week at Southern Hills, and he's coming in hot. So I'm going Abe Answer, finishing in the top 10. And last but not least, give me some Tony Finau. Finau is that player. It just seems like each and every year, as the season progresses, he gets better and better and better. He has not missed a cut here. Finished second in 2019. He's great in the wind. Like I said, windy conditions expected on Saturday and Sunday. And he's great putting on Bermuda Green. So I've got Tony Finau finishing in the top 20.
All right, one of your par 3 bets, exactly the same as one of my par 3 bets, and that is Kevin Na to finish inside the top 10 at plus 450. So everything that you said, that's the reason why I like Na. He is going to be a part of my DFS lineup, which I'll unveil tonight on Daily Wagers, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. So too is Abe Answer, who I know is one of your par 3 bets. So I think we're seeing eye to eye on who to target in this particular event. I have Na, I have Answer in my DFS lineup. Jordan Spieth and Chris Kirk are the other two I want to look at. Spieth at 25-1 to be the first round leader here. Spieth has been really good as of late. Take away the issues he had at the PGA. It was with his putter. His putter is what was the undoing there. He gained 8.6 strokes from tee to green at the PGA. He lost more than 3.5 on the green. So he's striking the ball well. And with this event taking place in Texas, he's familiar with those conditions, obviously, being a Longhorn. And I think he can putt well on some bent grass. And then Chris Kirk, inside the top 20 at plus 185. Kirk has made 9 straight cuts at Colonial in this event. He won it back in 2015, and he too is coming off a really good finish at the PGA Championship with a T5 there. So in good form, has really good history at this course with 9 straight cuts made and a win back in 2015. Spieth, Kirk, and our boy Kevin Na, we like for the Charles Schwab at Colonial. Finally, I nailed it the last time I had to say it. All right, we're going to wrap up the Wednesday edition of Bet with some Dimond Dollars and gosh, gaskets, Anita. There it is again. We're struggling here as of late. After a hot start, we've kind of come back down to earth a little bit. A push for you in the Guardians-Reds game because it was postponed, but a couple of L's with the Garrett Cole over 6.5 Ks. That did not happen, and Kevin Gausman going under a half a walk against the Mariners. He had 1 in the 3rd inning against Jesse Winker. So I took a big L, $20. You lost 10. You're down to 92. I'm down to $140. Let's get back on track. Kind of a light, late afternoon and evening slate in Major League Baseball on a travel day of Wednesday. But tell me what you got. We need some winners on the diamond. Get you back above 100. Get me back in good graces. You get it started, Anita. What bet or bets do you have for Wednesday?
So as you know, I'm here in New York, and the sky is falling because the Yankees keep on losing, and they're losing to the Orioles. So you know what? I'm going Orioles on the money line. You've got JP Sears making a spot start for the Yankees tonight. Their bullpen is a mess. Green's out, Chapman's out. This is the 5th game in 4 days that they're pitching 10 innings. Gallo's out, Stanton's out, Donaldson out, Gallo's out. Meanwhile, for the Orioles, they're healthy, and they've got a solid bullpen. I'm also going $10 on the Phillies. Suarez is solid. Harper is back. Atlanta, they're 4-6 their last 10 games, and Morton has been no bueno. So I'm laying $25 in on the O's. I'm sorry, 15 on the O's, in on the Phillies, both on the money line, baby. Let's go.
I like that. A couple of underdogs plus money propositions. Win those, and you're doing real well for this week. Well back over the $100 starting mark that we had. I'm looking at the Cincinnati Reds and the Chicago Cubs. Over 8.5 runs from Great American Ballpark. It's minus 125 to go over, so I'm going to wager $12.50 to try and win 10 back and get to $1.50. Here is the trend. Here is the stat. Cincinnati has played 16 games at home this season, Anita. 13 of the 16, that's 80+%, have gone over the total. The Cubs, their bats are kind of hot as of late. Schwindel and Patrick Wisdom. And we know neither team can pitch that well. Castillo going for the Reds, Hendricks going for the Cubs. 2 of their better pitchers, but again, they're not that great. I will say there is some weather in the area. It might get rained out, but if they get through 9 innings, I'm going over 8.5 in Cubs Reds. You like a couple of money line dogs, the Phils versus the Braves. and the O's against the Yankees, who are suddenly struggling a little bit. So I like yours. When I see that plus sign, I want those to win almost as much as mine, because that'll get you well back into the black. All right. That's going to do it for another Wednesday edition of Bet. Good stuff, as always, from Anita Marks. Big thanks to the Puck Daddy, Greg Wyshynski, for joining us. Enjoy tonight's Game 5s on the ice and on the hardwood, and we will see you back here. No, we won't. No Friday Bet. We'll see you back here Monday. Forgot.